The world was screaming, and yet he arrived in silence. While Caesar Augustus boasted of peace through bloodshed, Roman eagles marched across nations drenched in fire. In Rome, whispers spread of a coming golden child who would overthrow emperors. In China, a rare comet blazed blood red across the sky. Astrologers saw it as a divine omen. Earthquakes shook the Mediterranean. Cicero had just been assassinated. The ancient oracle of Delphi fell silent forever. The Parthian Empire was mobilizing for war. In Egypt, the temple of Isis mourned. Its priests claimed the gods had fled. The world held its breath, waiting for something it couldn't name. What if that something was already here, hidden in a barn? Imagine a world not so different from our own in its intricate dance of power and politics, yet vastly removed in its daily rhythms and the very fabric of human experience. A world where empires clashed and converged, where ancient wisdom met nascent power, and where the grand tapestry of humanity was woven with threads of ambition, profound belief, and an unspoken yearning for something more. This is the story of that world, a magnificent stage meticulously set for a transformation so profound it would echo through millennia, forever altering the course of human history. It's the narrative of the first century, a time when the universe itself seemed to hold its breath, anticipating a whisper that would soon become a roar, a light that would pierce the deepest shadows. At the heart of this global stage lay the formidable Roman Empire, a titan of its age, stretching its mighty grasp across the Mediterranean world. Under the shrewd and strategic leadership of Caesar Augustus, Rome had achieved an unprecedented era of peace, famously known as the Pax Romana. This wasn't merely an absence of war. It was a structured calm, enforced by legions, and upheld by a sophisticated legal system that promised stability, albeit under an iron fist. From the sun-drenched coasts of Spain to the ancient lands of Egypt, and crucially, encompassing the small, fervent land of Israel, Roman banners flew, signifying an order that, for all its imperial might, inadvertently created the very conditions for new ideas to travel and take root. But Rome was not alone in its grandeur. To its east, beyond the Euphrates River, lay its equally powerful and often enigmatic rival, the Parthian Empire, a realm of skilled horsemen and formidable archers. Parthia was a force to be reckoned with, a vibrant center of culture and commerce that constantly challenged Roman supremacy. Their borders were a hotbed of diplomatic intrigue and occasional skirmishes, a testament to the delicate balance of power that defined the ancient world. It was within this complex geopolitical landscape that astonishing human stories unfolded. Stories like that of a young woman named Zara. Born a Roman slave, Zara's life took an improbable turn when she was captured by Parthian forces. Through a twist of fate and remarkable resilience, she ascended to become a beloved queen, a testament to the unpredictable currents of destiny and the boundless potential of the human spirit. Even amidst the machinations of empires, her journey from captivity to a throne in a rival empire was a whisper of the extraordinary possibilities hidden within the ordinary. A beacon of hope in a world often defined by rigid hierarchies. It was from this very Parthian heartland, a land rich in ancient wisdom and a deep reverence for the cosmos, that another group of extraordinary individuals would embark on a journey. that would forever intertwine their legacy with the unfolding narrative of humanity. These were the Magi, not mere sorcerers, but high-ranking priests, astronomers, and scholars whose understanding of the celestial heavens was unparalleled. For generations, they had meticulously charted the movements of stars and planets, believing that the heavens held profound messages for those skilled enough to interpret them. And then, one night, a sign appeared in the sky, a celestial phenomenon so unique, so compelling, that it stirred their ancient prophecies and their deepest convictions. Compelled by this luminous beacon, they undertook an arduous journey, following the star, not to a newborn, but to a young child, likely around 1 year old, in the small Judean town of Bethlehem. Their quest, born of astronomical observation and spiritual intuition, was a powerful testament to the universal human search for meaning, a recognition that something truly significant had entered the world, transcending the boundaries of empires and cultures. The stage was indeed vast, and the connections between its disparate parts were more intricate than one might imagine. Rome, in its quest for control and efficiency, had engineered an astonishing network of roads. Over 80,000 kilometers of meticulously paved pathways crisscrossing its empire. These were engineering marvels, designed for the rapid movement of legions, the efficient transport of goods, and the swift communication of imperial decrees. They were arteries of empire, but they would, in time, become the veins through which an entirely different kind of message would flow, carried by those whose mission was not conquest, but transformation. Meanwhile, far to the east, across vast deserts and towering mountain ranges, another superpower flourished, the mighty Han Dynasty of China, a civilization of breathtaking innovation and profound philosophical depth. The Han Empire rivaled Rome in its scale and sophistication. Its own imperial court was a labyrinth of intricate power struggles and political maneuvering, not unlike those in Persia. During this very era, a powerful regent named Lin skillfully manipulated the young emperor, eventually seizing the throne for himself and establishing his own short-lived dynasty. This distant echo of ambition and human drama underscored the universal nature of power, ambition, and the constant flux of human affairs, demonstrating that grand narratives were unfolding simultaneously across the globe, often unbeknownst to one another. Yet, these seemingly separate worlds were not entirely isolated. Connecting east and west were the legendary trade routes, most notably the sprawling Silk Road, a network of pathways that snaked across continents, and the Via Maris, a vital coastal road that linked Egypt, Syria, and Mesopotamia, passing directly through the land of Israel. These weren't just routes for exotic silks, spices, and precious metals. They were conduits for ideas, philosophies, and news. Along these ancient highways, merchants, scholars, and travelers exchanged not only goods, but also stories, beliefs, and worldviews, creating an intricate web of cultural exchange that subtly shaped the global consciousness. It was into this globally interconnected, yet locally diverse, world that Jesus was born. He grew up in Nazareth, a small, unassuming village nestled in the hills of Galilee. Though seemingly insignificant, Nazareth lay remarkably close to the Via Maris, This proximity meant that even in his quiet village, Jesus would have been exposed to the constant flow of travelers, to the whispers of global ideas, to the diverse faces and cultures that passed through the region. He was not isolated from the world. Rather, he was uniquely positioned at a crossroads of ancient traditions and emerging global perspectives, observing the human condition in all its complexity. The spiritual landscape of this era was as varied and vibrant as its political geography. In Israel, the fervent monotheism of Judaism, with its ancient laws and prophecies, held sway, often in tension with Roman rule. Throughout the Roman Empire, a rich tapestry of Roman and Greek polytheism, with its pantheon of gods and goddesses, rituals, and philosophical schools, dominated public life. In Persia, Zoroastrianism, with its emphasis on cosmic dualism and the eternal struggle between good and evil, offered a profound spiritual framework. Further east, the ancient wisdom of Hinduism, the compassionate path of Buddhism, and the ethical philosophies of Confucianism and Taoism guided millions, each offering unique perspectives on life, death, and the divine. This was a world actively seeking, actively believing, a world filled with spiritual longing. And yet, beyond the horizons known to Rome, Parthia, and China, other magnificent civilizations were flourishing in isolation. In the Americas, the Maya were building awe-inspiring cities and developing sophisticated calendars. Teotihuacan was rising as a monumental urban center. The Nazca people were etching enigmatic geoglyphs into the desert, while the Moqui crafted exquisite pottery in the Andes. Further north, the Hopewell culture was building vast earthworks. These were parallel universes of human ingenuity and spiritual expression, developing entirely independently, unaware of the dramatic events unfolding across the oceans. This was the world into which Jesus arrived. A world of vast empires, intricate trade routes, diverse beliefs, and profound human stories. A world brimming with both order and chaos, connection and isolation. A world unknowingly preparing for a message that would transcend all its boundaries. The stage was set. The players were in place, and the story was about to unfold, not through conquest or political maneuvering, but through a life that would redefine love, sacrifice, and the very essence of humanity. The world was waiting, yearning for a truth it didn't even know it sought. This was the world into which Jesus arrived. A world of vast empires, intricate trade routes, diverse beliefs, and profound human stories. A world brimming with both order and chaos, connection and isolation. A world unknowingly preparing for a message that would transcend all its boundaries. The stage was set. The players were in place, and the story was about to unfold, not through conquest or political maneuvering, but through a life that would redefine love, sacrifice, and the very essence of humanity. The world was waiting, yearning for a truth it didn't even know it sought. And so, into this meticulously woven tapestry of human ambition and spiritual quest, a quiet birth occurred in Bethlehem. While Caesar Augustus reigned supreme, ushering in the Pax Romana, an era of unprecedented peace and stability across the Mediterranean, the echoes of power struggles still resonated. Rome, with its legions and laws, had indeed forged an empire, but not without its challenges. Eastward lay the formidable Parthian Empire, a rival superpower whose cavalry archers and political acumen kept Roman expansion in check. Their border was a dynamic frontier, a constant dance of diplomacy, skirmish, and sometimes profound personal drama. Consider the tale of Musa, a Roman slave girl, gifted to the Parthian king Phraates IV by none other than Caesar Augustus himself. As part of a peace treaty, Musa, through her intelligence and charm, rose to become the king's favorite, then a queen, even manipulating events to place her own son on the Parthian throne. This wasn't just a story of a slave's ascent. It was a testament to the intricate, often ruthless, political intrigues that bound these empires together, where personal lives intertwined with the fate of nations. Such was the world, grand narratives playing out on a global stage, yet often shaped by the most unexpected individuals. It was from the heart of this same Parthian Empire, from the ancient lands of Persia, that a group of extraordinary men emerged, the Magi. These were not mere astrologers, but high-ranking priests, scholars, and royal advisors, deeply versed in astronomy, prophecy, and the spiritual traditions of Zoroastrianism. They followed a celestial sign, a star unlike any other, believing it heralded the birth of a new king, a universal monarch. Their journey, arduous and significant, was a testament to the interconnectedness of that ancient world. They traveled west, not to conquer, but to worship, eventually finding Jesus, not as a newborn in a manger, but likely as a young child, perhaps around a year old, in a house in Bethlehem. Their rival, bearing gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh, was a profound acknowledgement from the spiritual and intellectual elite of the East, a silent prophecy of the global reach of this child's life. Their journey was made possible, in part, by the very infrastructure of these empires. While the Magi traversed ancient caravan routes, the Roman Empire, in its relentless pursuit of control and connectivity, had engineered an astonishing network of roads. Over 80,000 kilometers of meticulously planned and constructed highways crisscrossed the empire, linking distant provinces to Rome, facilitating the swift movement of legions, administrators, and merchants. These arteries of empire, built for Roman might and commerce, would, in a twist of fate, become the very pathways upon which the message of peace and love would later travel. They were silent witnesses, unknowingly prepared to carry the footsteps of apostles and missionaries, spreading a revolutionary truth across the known world. And beyond the spheres of Rome and Parthia, another colossal power reigned, the Han Dynasty in China, a civilization of unparalleled sophistication. It too was grappling with its own intricate court intrigues, mirroring the political complexities of the West. While the Magi sought a new king, the Han court was embroiled in a power struggle that saw the rise of Wang Meng, a shrewd and ambitious regent who seized the throne, establishing his own Qin dynasty. His reign, marked by bold social reforms and ultimately civil unrest, showcased that the human quest for power, reform, and meaning transcended geographical boundaries. East and West, separated by vast distances, were united by the universal dramas of humanity. These vast civilizations were not isolated islands. They were intricately linked by major trade routes, arteries of exchange that pulsed with life. The legendary Silk Road, a network of pathways stretching from China to the Mediterranean, was more than just a conduit for silk, spices, and precious metals. It was a superhighway for ideas, philosophies, and news, connecting distant cultures and fostering a shared, albeit slow-moving, global consciousness. Similarly, the Via Maris, or Way of the Sea, a crucial coastal road running through Palestine, served as a vital link between Egypt, Syria, and Mesopotamia. These routes, bustling with merchants, pilgrims, and soldiers, created a constant flow of information and cultural exchange, ensuring that no corner of the known world remained entirely untouched by the currents of global events. It was along one such route, the Via Maris, that the small village of Nazareth lay nestled. Though seemingly insignificant, Nazareth was not a secluded backwater. Its proximity to this major trade artery meant that young Jesus, growing up in this unassuming village, would have been exposed to a constant stream of travelers, merchants, and ideas from across the Roman Empire and beyond. He would have heard different languages, witnessed diverse customs, and absorbed snippets of news from distant lands. This seemingly ordinary upbringing in a small Galilean town was, in fact, a crucible of global exposure, subtly preparing him for a mission that would touch every nation. He was not just a local prophet. He was a man whose context was inherently global, whose message was destined for all humanity. As Jesus grew, he began his public ministry, speaking of a kingdom, not of this world, challenging established norms and offering a radical message of love, forgiveness, and redemption. His teachings resonated deeply with many, but also provoked fierce opposition. The world's diverse religious landscape, which we touched upon earlier, the fervent monotheism of Judaism, the pantheon of Roman and Greek gods, the cosmic dualism of Zoroastrianism, the ancient wisdoms of the East, was now confronted with a new singular claim that God had drawn near in a unique and personal way. This was not merely another philosophy. It was a call to transformation. His ministry culminated in Jerusalem, the heart of Jewish faith, under the watchful eye of Roman authority. The events that unfolded there were a microcosm of the global power dynamics of the time. Jewish religious leaders, fearing the disruption of their traditions and their delicate balance with Rome, orchestrated his arrest. The Roman authorities, represented by Pontius Pilate, though finding no fault in him, ultimately bowed to political pressure, afraid of inciting a riot and jeopardizing their own standing with Caesar. And so, Jesus, the humble carpenter from Nazareth, the man who spoke of peace and love, was condemned to die on a Roman cross, a brutal instrument of imperial justice. His crucifixion was not a hidden event. It was a public spectacle, a dramatic clash between spiritual truth and worldly power, witnessed by a diverse crowd of Jews, Romans, and travelers from across the empire. It seemed, to all who watched, the definitive end of a short, impactful life. The hope he had ignited appeared to be extinguished, buried with him in a borrowed tomb. But the story, as we now know, did not end there. In fact, it was only just beginning. The world had witnessed the ultimate act of sacrifice, but it was about to witness something even more profound. Something that would ignite a movement unlike any other in human history. The stage was set for an unprecedented unfolding of events. A seismic shift that would reverberate through the Roman roads, along the Silk Road, and across every known civilization. The crucifixion was merely the chrysalis from which a global phenomenon would emerge. The grave, it turned out, could not hold the message, nor the messenger. But the story, as we now know, did not end there. In fact, it was only just beginning. The world had witnessed the ultimate act of sacrifice, but it was about to witness something even more profound, something that would ignite a movement unlike any other in human history. The stage was set for an unprecedented unfolding of events, a seismic shift that would reverberate through the Roman roads, along the Silk Road, and across every known civilization. The crucifixion was merely the chrysalis from which a global phenomenon would emerge. The grave, it turned out, could not hold the message, nor the messenger. 3 days after that agonizing Friday, the impossible happened. The tomb was empty. The man who had been condemned and executed by the full might of Roman and religious authority was alive again. This was not a rumor whispered in dark corners. It was an undeniable, transformative reality for his closest followers. Their despair shattered, replaced by an incandescent joy and an unshakable conviction. They had seen him, touched him, eaten with him. The one they had mourned, the hope they thought was lost, now stood before them, resurrected, victorious over death itself. This was the ultimate confirmation of everything he had taught, everything he had embodied. It was the moment the world pivoted. The resurrection was not the end, but the ultimate beginning. 40 days later, his ascension into heaven left his disciples with a new kind of mission, not just to remember a prophet, but to proclaim a living Lord. Yet, they were still hesitant, still fearful, a small band against the colossal forces of the world. But then came Pentecost, a mere 50 days after the Passover, a day that would forever alter the course of human history. In an upper room in Jerusalem, the Holy Spirit descended upon them, not as a gentle whisper, but as a rushing wind and tongues of fire. It was an empowerment beyond anything they could have imagined. Suddenly, these ordinary men and women, Galilean fishermen and tax collectors, were filled with an audacious courage, a supernatural clarity, and the ability to speak in languages they had never learned, communicating the profound truths of God to the diverse multitude gathered in Jerusalem for the feast. This was the spark that ignited the global movement. From that moment, the disciples were transformed. No longer hiding in fear, they stepped out into the bustling streets of Jerusalem, a city teeming with pilgrims from every corner of the known world. Romans, Greeks, Parthians, Medes, Elamites, Mesopotamians, Judeans, Cappadocians, Pontus, Asia, Phrygia, Pamphylia, Egypt, Libya, Arabs. They proclaimed the message of Jesus, his life, his death, his resurrection, and the promise of new life through him. And astonishingly, people from all these nations understood, each in their own language, the incredible news. Thousands responded, forming the very first communities of believers. This was an unprecedented historical phenomenon. Leaders had died before. Revolutions had been crushed. But here, a movement not only survived the brutal execution of its founder, but exploded in growth because of it. The death on the cross, once a symbol of defeat, became the ultimate testament to love and sacrifice, and the resurrection, the ultimate proof of divine power. It wasn't about seizing political power or establishing an earthly empire. It was about transforming hearts and minds, one person at a time, with a message of hope, redemption, and a radically new way of living. And how did this message, born in a small, often overlooked corner of the Roman Empire, spread so rapidly? It utilized the very infrastructure of the globalized world that had been meticulously built by empires for their own purposes, the vast Roman road system. Over 80,000 kilometers of meticulously engineered pathways connecting every major city and outpost became the arteries through which the message flowed. Soldiers, merchants, and officials had traversed these roads for centuries, establishing order and commerce. Now, apostles like Peter and Paul, once a persecutor of Christians, now its most ardent evangelist, walked these same roads, carrying not swords or ledgers, but a message of peace and life. The great trade routes, the Via Maris and the Silk Road, which had for millennia facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and news between East and West, now carried a new kind of cargo, the gospel. The bustling port cities, like Ephesus, Corinth, and Antioch, melting pots of cultures and beliefs, became crucial hubs for missionary activity. In these vibrant centers, the message of Christ encountered the established religions and philosophies of the age, the intricate monotheism of Judaism, the pantheon of Roman and Greek gods, the cosmic dualism of Persian Zoroastrianism, the philosophical schools of Stoicism, and Epicureanism. It wasn't always an easy reception. Persecution was frequent and severe, but the message, simple yet profound, resonated with people from all walks of life, slaves and emperors, philosophers and farmers, men and women. It offered a personal relationship with God, forgiveness, and a hope that transcended the uncertainties of earthly existence. A stark contrast to the often fatalistic or ritualistic beliefs prevalent at the time. While the story of Christianity unfolded across the interconnected Old World, other magnificent civilizations were developing in magnificent isolation. Far across the vast oceans, in the Americas, the Maya were building awe-inspiring pyramids and developing sophisticated calendars. The sprawling city of Teotihuacan was rising in central Mexico, a monumental testament to urban planning and spiritual devotion. In the deserts of Peru, the Nazca people were etching colossal geoglyphs into the earth, their purpose still a mystery. The Moqui crafted exquisite pottery and developed advanced irrigation systems. While in North America, the Hopewell culture created intricate earthworks. These civilizations, vibrant and complex, flourished independently, their destinies uninfluenced by the dramatic spiritual revolution unfolding across the Atlantic and Pacific. They had their own gods, their own empires, their own intricate social structures, completely unaware of the carpenter from Nazareth whose message was now sweeping across continents. The apostles, empowered by the Spirit, journeyed tirelessly. Paul, in particular, undertook extensive missionary journeys, navigating political tensions, enduring shipwrecks, imprisonments, and beatings, all for the sake of sharing the message. He wrote letters that would become foundational texts for billions, articulating the profound implications of Jesus' life, death, and resurrection for all humanity. His journeys, and those of the other apostles, were not merely physical expeditions. They were spiritual odysseys, planting seeds of faith in diverse cultural soils, establishing communities that would endure for centuries. From that small village of Nazareth, to the bustling markets of Jerusalem, to the grand imperial cities of Rome and Antioch, and eventually to the far reaches of the known world, a movement was born. It was not a movement of armies or empires, but of hearts and minds transformed by a radical message of love, sacrifice, and redemption. It was a message that declared a king who came not to be served, but to serve. A God who was not distant and demanding, but intimately involved and loving. The Roman Empire, with its Pax Romana, provided the stability. The Parthian Empire, with its intricate court, stood as a powerful rival. The Han Dynasty in China, a distant superpower, navigated its own complex intrigues. The Silk Road hummed with commerce. All these grand narratives of human power and ambition were unfolding simultaneously. Yet, from the most unexpected of places, a different kind of power emerged. A spiritual power that would outlast every empire, transcend every cultural boundary, and ultimately shape the moral and ethical landscape of the world for millennia. The story of Jesus' birth, life, death, and resurrection, and the subsequent explosion of Christianity, is a profound testament to the power of a single life, a singular message, to utterly transform the world. It reminds us that true impact often doesn't come from the centers of worldly power, but from humble beginnings, propelled by an unwavering conviction and a message that resonates with the deepest longings of the human heart. From a borrowed tomb, a movement was launched that would change the trajectory of human history, proving that even in the face of overwhelming odds and seemingly ultimate defeat, hope can rise, and a message of truth can indeed conquer the world. It is a timeless reminder that the most profound changes often begin with the quietest voices, ignited by an unquenchable fire, and carried forth by those willing to believe in the impossible. When the Roman Empire ruled with iron and fire, when Caesar Augustus declared himself Divi Filius, son of a god, when the world bowed to the sword, the cross, and the eagle, something impossible happened. The true Son of God was not born in a palace in Rome. He was not announced to senators or generals. No royal fanfare. No military procession, just a teenage mother, a confused carpenter, and a feeding trough for animals. While empires fought over land, taxes, and glory, heaven slipped quietly into the margins. While Herod slaughtered infants in paranoia, the infant king was already on the run as a refugee. While the rich debated philosophy in marble courtyards, the Word became flesh in a cave filled with straw and dust. This is the deep irony of history. The world was looking for a conqueror, and God sent a baby. The world expected power displayed. God gave power hidden in vulnerability. The world believed peace came. Through victory, God showed peace comes through sacrifice. Rome had roads, laws, armies, and order. But Rome did not have what that child carried: the forgiveness of sins, the healing of hearts, the restoration of the broken. The lesson for us today is painfully relevant. We still chase the Roman dream: power, status, security, control. We admire the strong, the loud, the victorious. We measure success by visibility, influence, and wealth. But the birth of Jesus turns our values upside down. It tells us that God is not found in the noise but in the quiet. Not in the empire but in the unnoticed. Not in domination but in service. Not in being served but in serving. So how do we apply this today? Stop looking for God only in the spectacular. Start paying attention to the humble, the hidden, the overlooked. Your breakthrough may not come with a trumpet blast, it may arrive in a whisper. Your purpose may not look like a throne, it may look like a towel. True greatness is not about how many people serve you, but how many you serve. Now I want to hear from you. In one word, where do you think the world is still searching for hope in all the wrong places today? Comment below, I'll read every single response. And if this message stirred something in you, please hit that subscribe button. It tells YouTube to share this content with more people who need to hear it. Your support fuels this mission. Thank you.